الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون صدق الله العظيم. The qissa and story of Musa alayhi salam and his dealing with Fir'aun or being sent to Fir'aun was the main discussion of these ayat, ayat number 49 and ayat number 50 of Surat al-Baqarah. After Musa alayhi salam, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the mu'jiza that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him in the form of the asa or the staff that turned into a snake, that snake or that staff swallowed up all of the other snakes or ropes, the staffs that the magicians had thrown, putting to shame the very power of Fir'aun and whatever he used in controlling the people. Fir'aun used various tactics, psychological and physical tortures, along with sihr and magic to strike fear into the hearts of the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in other ayat of the Quran, فَاسْتَخَفَّ قَوْمَهُ فَأَطَاعُوهُ إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا فَاسِقِينَ. That Fir'aun, he struck fear into the hearts of the people, he made the people afraid. So they obeyed him and they followed him or followed his every order. And they were a very, very fasiq qawm, a nation that involved or indulged in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As punishment against the sahirin, the magicians, when the magicians saw the staff of Musa alayhi salam and they realized that it was a mu'jiza, they accepted Iman and they believed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted their Iman also. At that moment when they did sajda, they also said, Rabbi Musa wa Harun, that we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rabb of Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them a little scene of Jannah, of paradise, so their Iman was made strong. And Fir'aun, in a fit of anger and his arrogance, he mentioned that he was going to torture them, and he told them that I'm going to لَوْقَطِّعَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ مِنْ خِلَافٍ. I'm going to cut your hands and your feet from opposite sides. وَلَوْصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. And I'm going to crucify you on the date trees or the date palm trees. And he carried out this type of torture against the Sahirin who accepted Iman. And this is one of the main tortures that Fir'aun had invented, was crucifying someone to death. And this crucifixion is one of the most horrible ways to die. The pain lasts till the very end. So Fir'aun, he invented this form of torture, of this form of punishment, this adhab that he inflicted against the people who went against his order. And Fir'aun also ordered that the army start rounding up anyone who believed in Musa alayhi salam, that they should also be put to death. And he passed an order to his army that you leave Musa alayhi salam to me, I will deal with him. At this time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent various punishments against Fir'aun. And these are ayat and signs for Fir'aun to try and make him submit. But in reality, Fir'aun, because of his arrogance, did not want to submit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمُ الطُّوفَانِ وَالْجَرَادِ وَالْقُمَّلِ وَالدَّفَادِعِ وَالدَّمَ آيَاتٍ مُفَصَّلَاتٍ فَاسْتَكْبَرُوا وَكَانُوا قَوْمًا مُجْرِمِينَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent against Fir'aun and his people flood and locusts and frogs and lice and various kinds of punishments were sent against Fir'aun and his people only. The Bani Israel were always spared. It was an ajib kind of adhab. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent the tufan, the flood. The flood came and destroyed the homes of Fir'aun and his people, but it dodged all of the homes of the Bani Israel. It was a programmed flood. It wasn't like any regular flood, just comes and destroys everything, but the houses of the Bani Israel, they were spared. And Fir'aun, when he saw this, was very, very big destruction. Fir'aun knew that this is a adhab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he called Musa alayhi salam into a special meeting. He said, listen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the ayat of Surat al-A'raf, وَلَمَّا وَقَعَ عَلَيْهِمُ الرِّجْزِ قَالُوا يَا مُوسَى ادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ بِمَا عَهِدَ عِنْدَكَ لَئِنْ كَشَفْتَ عَنَّا الرِّجْزَ لَنُؤْمِنَنَّ لَكَ وَلَنُرْسِلَنَّ مَعَكَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. Oh Musa, you just make dua to your Rabb to get rid of this disaster that we're going through. And if you get rid of this disaster for us, we will send the Bani Israel with you and we'll believe and we'll be good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentioned in the next ayah, فَلَمَّا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُمُ الرِّجْزَ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ هُمْ بَالِغُوهُ إِذَا هُمْ يَنْكُثُونَ. That whenever we removed that torture, that destruction from them, they went back on their word. They went back to their ways. When the flood left, and Fir'aun called Musa alayhi salam to this special meeting, told Musa alayhi salam, you make dua, this flood goes. And we will send the Bani Israel and we promise this and this. At the time when people are suffering, they make all sorts of promises. When the flood left, Fir'aun came to the people and said, you see, I wanted to show you the kind of power I had, that even the water listens to me. La ilaha illallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the next punishment, waddam, blood. And it was a kind of blood that whenever Fir'aun and his people would drink water, or any kind of water, it would turn to blood. They couldn't drink water, they couldn't cook food, they couldn't clean their clothing, nothing, everything was blood. And right beside them, the Bani Israel were there. When they would drink water, it was water. The same water. Sometimes Fir'aun and his people started snatching the cups from the Bani Israel. They're, okay, yours is water, they would snatch the cup and try to drink it, it would turn to blood. Such is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was a sign against Fir'aun and his people. They didn't believe. They again repeated this process, asked Musa alayhi salam to make dua. When Musa alayhi salam made dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed the difficulty. They went back on their word. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the next punishment, frogs, and then after that lice, and after that locusts, one after the other. But they weren't ready to believe. And this lasted not for 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, but for years. Some narrations mention 8 years, some mention 10 years, for a long time. Musa alayhi salam tried to make Fir'aun listen and understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Fir'aun a very long time to accept Iman. And he didn't accept. During this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent wahi to Musa alayhi salam. And to Harun alayhi salam, وَوَحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى وَأَخِيهِ أَن تَبَوَّآ لِقَوْمِكُمَا بِمِصْرَ بُيُوتًا وَاجْعَلُوا بُيُوتَكُمْ قِبْلَةً وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. We send, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Yunus, that we send wahi to Musa alayhi salam and to his brother to build homes around, and also to build a house, make one place a qibla, and pray salah, establish salah. Aqimu salah, you establish this salah, the faridah, the fard salah in their own homes. They were not allowed to pray out in the open or to have a masjid or to have a place of salah. But in their homes they were told to, instructed to establish salah. And Musa alayhi salam, he also established this salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us even in the Quran, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with patience and with salah. And when Musa alayhi salam, he saw that Fir'aun wasn't ready to listen, so Musa alayhi salam, he also made a dua at the end. He said, you know what, enough is enough. Musa alayhi salam was very amazing. If you read the du'as that he made in the Quran, one can be surprised what kind of an amazing personality he was. He made such a dua against Fir'aun, it was an amazing dua. In Surah Yunus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned his dua after this prolonged period of time. Musa alayhi salam had enough. So he made dua. He said, رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ آتَيْتَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَمَلَأَهُ زِينَةً وَأَمْوَالًا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. That, oh Allah, you've given to Fir'aun and to his people the beauty and the glamour and the power of this dunya. All this wealth and glamour and all this. وَأَمْوَالًا and the wealth فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا in the life of this world. رَبَّنَا لِيُضِلُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِكَ. Oh Allah, they're misleading people in your path. They're going astray. They're misleading people astray. رَبَّنَا اطْمِسْ عَلَىٰ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. Oh Allah, you, for lack of better English, oh Allah, you dip them in their wealth. Make them busy with their wealth. Make them surrounded with their wealth. This is also a type of punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you make somebody so busy in their wealth, they don't even have time to accept Iman or to pray Salah or to have any time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a type of punishment. That wealth is of no benefit for anyone. There's no barakah in that wealth. So Musa alayhi salam said, oh Allah, Rabbana atmis ala amwalihim, washdud ala qulubihim. Oh Allah, you make their hearts very hard. فَلَا يُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى هَرَوُا الْعَذَابَ الْأَلِيمِ. So they don't accept Iman, they don't have Iman until they see the final adhab. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted this dua. This dua was made after Salah. So Harun alayhi salam said, Ameen. In the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He told them, قَدْ أُجِيبَتْ دَعْوَتُكُمَا. That I'm going to accept the dua of both of you, Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. فَاسْتَقِيمَا. You just have istiqamah. You have steadfast. And be steadfast. Be firm. وَلَا تَتَّبِعَانِ سَبِيلَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And don't follow the path of those who don't know. During this time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then sent wahi to Musa alayhi salam that you start making preparations to leave. Fir'aun is not ready to accept Iman and he's not ready to change. So you make preparations, you leave. The Bani Israel were given an ultimatum, you have this much time, get yourselves ready. So the Bani Israel used to have a system, a kind of way, where whenever they had a function, a kind of wedding or some other function, they used to borrow wealth from the Fir'aun and his people. So they went and they borrowed this wealth from Fir'aun and his people. Fir'aun came from the Qibti tribe. And when they borrowed this wealth during this time, that night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the hukum to Musa alayhi salam, they now collect the Bani Israel and leave. So the Bani Israel left. And it should also be understood that this wealth Fir'aun took from the Bani Israel with force. It was actually their wealth. But for functions they were allowed to borrow it back. It's very similar to our system. We're allowed to work for it. Right? They give us a tax return. It's not good to go into the systems here. You can study the taxes. Anyhow, so they were allowed to borrow it back and allowed to, have it. So they took their wealth that night. Fir'aun gathered the Bani Israel. Musa alayhi salam, he gathered the Bani Israel and he left. In the morning they woke up. Fir'aun and his people, they woke up, they realized the Bani Israel were gone. And when all the construction workers are gone. That's not good, They keep talking about how tough they are against the Mexicans, but if they were to kick all of them out, oh man, we'd have problems. There's a lot of jobs that the rest of us don't want to do. So they can't take them out. All of a sudden, everyone was gone. All the workers, all the cleaners, all the khadimeen, everyone was gone. They had a very, very profound, they would have destroyed this system. So Fir'aun immediately passed an order with his army and he also went behind them. And Musa alayhi salam was taking the Bani Israel out. Fir'aun came with his army. And there they came to the sea. And Musa alayhi salam was standing there, he was looking at the Red Sea in front of him. Fir'aun with all of his army behind. And the Bani Israel looked at Musa alayhi salam and they said, Inna la mudrakun, you destroyed us. They were accusing Musa alayhi salam. And now what? You destroyed us, we're finished. We can't go forward because many of us can't swim beyond this. What is this so far? And if we turn around, Fir'aun is going to slaughter us. So Musa alayhi salam, he said, Kalla, inna ma'a rabbi sayahadin. He said, never happened that we're destroyed. My Rabb, He'll guide me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a system. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent wahi to Musa alayhi salam, Anidrib bi'asa'aka al-bahr. You hit the sea with your staff. And Musa alayhi salam with his staff, he hit the sea, and the sea split. And they say it's split in half. No. It's split into 12 pathways. Because the Bani Israel were 12 tribes. And each tribe had so much pride and each tribe was so arrogant that if the leader of one tribe went on one way, this person from this tribe would not follow that leader. They would rather be killed and slaughtered by Fir'aun than to give up their honor of following that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew their nature. So He didn't split the sea in half for them. He made 12 pathways. And it was amazing. It was not some normal pathway. You know, you go to the aquarium and you go someplace in the aquarium, you can stand and all around is water. You see these big fish going. Like this, pathways were made. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these pathways. Each leader knew their own. They were standing in front of them, the pathway was there. So all the tribes followed. And Musa alayhi salam also went. When they got to the other end, the last man of the Bani Israel, his name was Samiri, when he was coming out, he was looking back also. At that time, Fir'aun was standing and watching the sea split. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants to destroy someone, He uses their own aql against them. He uses their own intellect against them. So Fir'aun, he stopped and he realized, oh, this is something else, you know. But Fir'aun, he had one minister with him, Haman, who was very cunning. So Haman, he looked at the army of Fir'aun and he said, you see, our great Lord, He has made this prison to capture the Bani Israel. You know? So he said, let's go get them. Allah's not used their own aql against them. You know? So Fir'aun also became arrogant. He said, yes, I did this to capture them so they'll never think to leave again. You know? So he hit his horse wasn't ready to move. You know? The animals, they know. The horse was like, no, this is adhab. You know? This is not. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought the horse that Fir'aun was sitting on was a male horse. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought one horse from Jannah. Female horse ran in front of his horse, so Fir'aun's horse also went. Sometimes we men, when shahwa comes, our aql is gone. You know? So this horse also is. And the nature of the horse is once one of them go, all of them go. You know, the whole army was behind Fir'aun. They all went. The whole army went into the sea. And at that time, Samiri, he was watching and he saw that special horse that came. He saw something very strange. Later on in Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the qawl of Samiri when He was talking to Musa alayhi salam. He said that I saw something you didn't see. He was telling Musa alayhi salam that you people were way in the front, I was in the back and I was seeing something. An ajib creature coming. فَقَبَضْتُ قَبْضَةً مِّنْ أَثَرِ الرَّسُولِ. He said that horse came right in front of me and then took off. And I had a chance to grab the hoof print of that creature, whatever kind of creature it was. From Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this animal. He said, I grabbed that, whatever I could, Athar al-Rasul. How to translate? The mark of that horse, or whatever it was. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that. He saw, Samiri, he saw this. And later on, he used it to make his own calf and make the people worship that calf out of the gold and all the ornaments. But this was the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to bring the whole army of Fir'aun into the sea. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the sea to close. When a person knows that their life is in danger, then even the biggest atheists start saying, oh my God, you know. So this time, Fir'aun, he saw and he knew that he was finished. He also started having Iman. And at that time he tried to accept Iman, but it was too late. Even in that sea, that chaos, it started. And Fir'aun, he started saying the kalima. He said, Amantu annahu la ilaha illa alladhi. At this moment, Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he was narrating the story. He said, there was one zalim that I wanted him to be destroyed, you know. He said, when I saw Fir'aun saying, Amantu annahu, he said, I knew he was going to say the kalima. He said, so I got a nice big handful of dust and water, whatever I could, and I threw it in his mouth. So he would forget illallah. Because if he had said la ilaha illallah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might have saved him. The power of the kalima. He said, la ilaha illalladhi amanat bihi banu Israel. He said half the kalima, whatever he could. In that chaos moment, he said, I believe in that being, that there's no God but the one who the Bani Israel believe in. Wa ana min al-muslimin. He said, I'm Muslim also. At that last moment, Fir'aun, he accepted Iman, or at least tried to accept Iman. The ayat are in Surah Yunus. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then makes a claim in the Quran, Al-an. لَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ قَبْلُ وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now you want to believe. Before this, you were amongst the mufsideen, you were causing chaos in the world. And this is actually the acceptance of the dua of Musa alayhi salam. Because Musa alayhi salam in his dua, he said that, oh Allah, make them not believe hatta yarawul adhab al-alim, until they see that painful, that final adhab, then make them believe, So they accepted Iman, but at that moment, even with whatever form of Iman Fir'aun could muster up, at that moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even accepted that, but did not save Fir'aun, just saved his body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ, that today we're going to save your body. لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, so that it becomes an ayah and a sign for all those that come after you. Fir'aun is put through the most severest of adhab and punishments in the fire of Jahannam, but his body is still there till today. It's in a museum in Misr in Egypt. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says something in the Quran, it's 100% accurate. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we're going to save your body, His body is preserved just like our bodies are preserved. Our hair grows, our nails grow. There's a group of the historians who are involved in historical facts and artifacts. They're also tasked with the job of cutting his nails and cutting his hair. Every month they go in and such is the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu made him as a sign for all of humanity till the day of judgment. His body is still preserved there. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed Fir'aun in front of the Bani Israel. They saw it. One is when you hear that your enemy is destroyed. It gives you somewhat joy. We should not be happy about the destruction of anyone. But sometimes there's some people, they hurt us in such ways, and they harm us in such ways that when we hear about their destruction, it makes us happy. And one is when you see your enemy get destroyed in front of you. It's a whole different kind of joy. You can imagine what kind of joy the Bani Israel were going through when they saw Fir'aun get destroyed right in front of them. This is also a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in ayat number 49 and ayat number 50, وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ, O Bani Israel, remember that favor upon you. When we saved you from Fir'aun, from the people of Fir'aun, يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ, they were putting you through the most terrible forms of punishment and tortures. يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ, they were slaughtering your children in front of you. وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ, they were leaving your women alive and also shaming them in various ways. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ, and that was a very, 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 very amazing and great test from your Rabb. Very great bala, difficulty. وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ, and remember that time when we split the sea for you, made those pathways for you. فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ, and we saved all of you. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ, and we drowned Fir'aun and all of his armies. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, and you were standing there watching. We let you see that for your own happiness. And that was a favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. But the Bani Israel, they were also very strange. When they turned around and they started going with Musa alayhi salam in the desert, so at that time they passed by one nation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-A'raf that they were passed by a qawm or a nation, that they were ya'kufuna asnamakum, that they were doing, they were worshipping their idols, doing their own kind of worshipping idols. So the Bani Israel told Musa alayhi salam that, are you going to bring an idol or a god for us like these people have a god? La ilaha illallah. Musa alayhi salam, he said, what kind of strange people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just saved you from Fir'aun, and you're asking to worship idols. قَالَ إِنَّكُمْ قَوْمٌ تَجْهَلُونَ, you people are very, very jahil people, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing you out of all this shirk, out of all this kufr, bringing you from all of these tortures. And He showered so many favors on you, and you want to go to idol worship? What strange people. So even at that moment, rather than being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their hearts were going towards kufr already. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا، وفي القبر مونسا، وعلى الصراط نورا، وفي الجنة رفيقا، ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.